They told us the third temple would be built with stones, by men on a mountain. But what if the sages were hiding something deeper, something too mysterious to be taken literally? What if the next temple doesn't rise from the ground but descends from the heavens? Buried in Midrash Tanchuma and the words of the Talmud are hints of a heavenly structure, not built by human hands, but pre-existing, waiting to be revealed. A temple made of light, of spirit, of divine architecture. And maybe that's why no blueprint has ever worked, because what we're waiting for isn't a building, it's a revelation. The Talmud, Sukkah 41a, speaks of a temple that is already complete, not in this world, but in heaven. In the future, it says, the Holy One will bring down a temple made of fire. This idea shocks many, because it contradicts everything we've been told about rebuilding. But the sages were not concerned with construction materials. They were decoding patterns of redemption. The third temple, they say, is not something to be built, but something to be aligned with. Its descent is conditional, not on bricks, but on hearts. A generation must be ready to receive it, not just architecturally, but spiritually. So the question isn't when we will build it, but when we will become the kind of people who can receive it. The Midrash says that when Moses went up Mount Sinai, he didn't just receive commandments. He was shown a heavenly temple, not a metaphor. A real structure existing in a higher dimension, designed by the divine. In Exodus 25:9, God says, "Make it according to the pattern I show you on the mountain." The Hebrew word used, tavnit, means blueprint, plan, or model. The sages say Moses saw the true temple, and what was built on earth was only a shadow. The Zohar teaches that this heavenly temple exists outside time, waiting to descend. Every stone of the earthly temples was a mirror of a higher truth. So the third temple may not be built from below, but revealed from above. If that's true, then no human construction will be enough. Only alignment with the heavenly pattern can bring it down. And that changes everything. Tractate Sukkah 41a says, "In the end of days the third temple will descend from heaven, complete, built of fire." The sages debate, is it literal fire or divine energy in visible form? Either way, this temple is not made by human hands. Unlike the previous temples, which were destroyed by enemy nations, this one is indestructible. Why? Because it's not born of this world. It carries the imprint of eternity. Kabbalah says fire represents transformation, burning what's impure to reveal what's pure. The third temple may arrive in flames, not to destroy, but to purify. And maybe the fire isn't just external. Maybe it's the fire within the souls that are ready. Souls that can receive the temple, because they've become part of it. Every revelation in the Bible is preceded by a sound. At Sinai, thunder. In Ezekiel's vision, a stormy wind. In Acts 2, a rushing wind before tongues of fire. Heaven doesn't descend silently. The Midrash teaches that before the temple descends, there will be a sound that pierces every soul. The Teruah Gadolah, the great blast, a shofar not made by man. It won't be heard with ears, but with spirit. A vibration across the world, shaking foundations. Some will call it noise. Others will fall on their knees. The temple will come, not when it's seen, but when it's felt. And those who are tuned to the frequency of holiness will recognize the sound. If the temple comes from above, who builds it? The Talmud, Pesachim 54a, suggests that certain heavenly realities were created before the world, including the temple of the future. The Zohar adds that it is built by light itself, not angels with tools, but divine forces that shape glory into form. That's why no blueprints can prepare it. No earthly architect can access its design. It is not a project, it's a revelation. And maybe the real builders are the souls who prepare themselves. Every act of kindness, every prayer whispered in the dark, every tear shed for Zion, all become stones in that descending fire. Why hasn't the temple come yet? The sages give a chilling answer. Because we would have defiled it. The vessels are not ready, not the physical ones, but the human ones. Our generation had to pass through fire, confusion, exile, and awakening. Only now are hearts starting to burn again. Kabbalah says timing is everything. The temple is not late. We were asleep. And only now some are starting to open their eyes. If the temple descends now, it's not because the world deserves it, but because a few are finally ready to receive it. The prophets speak of a Jerusalem that is higher than the one we see, Yerushalayim Shel Mala, a spiritual city, invisible to the eye, but felt by the soul. The temple will not land in a political map. It will align with the Jerusalem above, and only then appear. That's why wars can't bring it. Governments can't build it. Only the alignment of soul and space can trigger descent. Maybe this is why some walk the streets of Jerusalem and feel nothing, while others weep without understanding why. Because part of the city is hidden, waiting for the temple to complete it. The final battle is not about land or stone. It's about perception. The enemy is not a nation. It's illusion. The temple is a threat, not to armies, but to lies. It reveals what is fake, what is empty, what is built on pride. That's why darkness resists it. This is not a war of weapons. It's a war of truth. And you are in it, whether you know it or not. The third temple will not descend into a world of confusion. It will descend when enough people choose clarity. The temple is not absent. It's scattered in your longing, in the verses you repeat, and the sparks you carry. Every true synagogue, every Torah scroll, every act of awe is a shard of the greater temple. The sages say, when the fragments reunite in spirit, the structure will reunite in reality. Maybe you're not just waiting for the temple. Maybe the temple is waiting for you. When the temple descends, the world won't become religious overnight. But something will shift. The veil will tear. People will feel things they can't explain. Tears will fall without knowing why. The hearts of the stubborn will crack. Because the temple is not just a building, it's a mirror. It reveals who you are and what you lack. So ask yourself, if the temple came today, would it recognize you as a part of it? But the temple is not the only forgotten piece. In the next episode, we'll reveal the vessel that disappeared before it could be touched, and the mystery it still guards.